video on the basics of the puzzle cube project that we're asking you to clean up and repair. Ultimately, the puzzle cube project has one deliverable. You're going to basically be creating a PDF package of drawing sheets. Now this PDF package of drawing sheets will look something similar to this, where you've got your puzzle cube, exploded assembly, solid assembly, parts list, balloons on sheet number 1, and then all the subsequent sheets afterward indicate the individual parts and dimensions. Now it's important, like in this piece, to have it fully dimensioned. You're going to have hidden lines shown for the surfaces that you can't see, and the dimensions indicate the size of the object. And notice that all the dimensions are dimensioning to solid lines. Nothing is being dimensioned to the hidden lines. And each of these parts ultimately get created in a similar fashion. The rules, you've looked at those before. You can't have the same parts. You have to have a minimum of 5 different parts, and you'll have 6 drawing sheets. So 5 parts plus the 1 assembly, exploded assembly. So in this video, we're going to show you how to assemble some of the puzzle cube parts, how to explode them, and how to create a drawing sheet of the puzzle cube. So we're going to do that here in this instructional video. Alright, so I've created a couple of puzzle cube parts already. We're going to create a third one. Again, when you start, you're going to pick the sketch command. You'll pick one of the 3 XYZ locations. I'm going to work in the front view. This particular cube is going to be kind of unique, so I'm going to use the rectangle and create a rectangle shape and dimension the rectangle shape, and that needs to be 0.75, and this one is going to be 1.50 for the overall length. We'll go back to the home view up in the upper right hand corner, and we'll extrude this and finish the sketch and extrude this by 0.75, because again, each one of these cubes is 0.75. And I'm going to create another cube that's going to sit on top of this. So I'm going to create a sketch, select the top of the cube, look down at it, and then create a rectangle for this particular cube. And again, it's our call on how we want to design this part. So this cube is going to be 2.25 inches long, basically 3 cubes, and 0.75. And if you think about it, this not only has to have the size of this, but we also have to have the position, because I might have picked points that are not accurate. So we're going to dimension the side of the object to the side of the original cube, and if it comes up and says it'll over constrain the sketch, fantastic. All that means is that I don't need to place that dimension, that it is accurate. And the dimension from here to the face of the cube should be 1.5, and again, it tells me that I don't need that. So this particular cube is anchored. Now I place the dimension as what is known as a driven dimension, or a basic dimension is the other term you're going to hear, and that is the parentheses. So it's not used for calculations, it's there just to give information. So back to the home view, finish the sketch, extrude our shape, but we need to extrude both parts. So we want to extrude everything up 0.75, and we have our part. Now once we have this part created, we can window around it, right mouse click, and we can go to appearance. And when we choose appearance, we'll get a window that pops up here, And then we can choose the type of color we would like to use, whether it's wood, paint, plastic. So I'll do plastic this time. And there's a variety of different plastics, textured, colored, and so forth. Not a whole lot of good colors. Paint always is good colors. They've got all the basic colors in paint here. And we can do a yellow part. So we're just going to drag and drop the yellow color on our part, and our part will turn colors. And you want to do that at this step to colorize your parts to make them look good. And then you can just hit the double arrows and shrink the appearance menu back. You'll want to save it, so we'll pick the save button. We're going to make this Puzzle Cube 3. And it's in my class projects folder. Alright, so now I've got 3 puzzle cubes. I need to assemble them. So how do I do that? Well, I can create a brand new drawing and assemble all the cubes in a brand new drawing space. And so I'll pick the new component and type as standard. This is going to be an external. Let's see here. Location is Town Projects. And okay, so I got sidetracked for a second. The assemble is not where we actually add the products. We actually have to go over to the data panel, and under our data panel we will find, let's see here, I need to find my folder here. Had to back out of Tom's Projects and MET 1231, and then I've got my 3 puzzle cubes. So I've got my new drawing space, and all I need to do is right mouse click and then insert into the current design. So the key is save your work first, and then you're able to insert it into your current design. I wonder if it allows me to drag and drop. Please save the design. So I have to save this first. So let's go ahead and hit save. And this is going to be Puzzle Cube Assembly. And then I can just drag and drop these into the Puzzle Cube Assembly. Okay, now they all sat on top of each other, and I can slide them around and move the objects where they need to get moved in this design. But you can see that we've got 3 objects. So now what we're going to do is assemble these. And we'll use the assemble tool here to quickly apply the joints that we need to accomplish. So what we want to do is go to the joint command. We're going to go ahead and take this, and again, the key on the joint is direction. You can see on my screen that I can put a joint vertically or horizontal on the surface, and I want to connect that vertical joint to this object. So we're going to go ahead and connect this vertical joint, but I'm thinking, how can I make this even better? So if I spun this around, could I select this joint instead? Yes. So I can pick this joint, and I can then pick this corner to connect that joint to. And then we can rotate this around by left mouse clicking and holding on the view cube and rotate it around, and that's exactly where I wanted to put this. So again, you have to think about how that joint is going to connect. So how are we going to connect the 2 parts? And then we'll choose OK. Go back to the home view, and obviously the blue part is still out there floating. We're going to go ahead and put the blue part on the yellow part. So thinking about that, if we rotate this around, we can take one of the corners of the yellow part and connect it to a corner of the blue part and make that the joint. So we can pick the joint in this upper corner of the yellow part and pick the joint in the upper surface of the blue part. And the two positions will connect, and that's the idea, is you want to pick 2 points that connect and choose OK. Now, even though it looked kind of weird on the preview, I had a comfortable feeling that it was going to connect properly. And so now our 3 puzzle cube pieces are connected. We'll go ahead and hit save, and we've now saved, and we can always put a note in of that save. Perfect. So now it's assembled. We'll go ahead and close the data panel because we don't need the data panel anymore to bring more parts in. But now we need to animate this to make an exploded assembly. So we'll go over and choose the animation tool. So instead of design, we're now in animation. And for that to occur, what we're going to do is transform these. And transform means that we're going to move these based on a timeline on the bottom. So we're building a story of how this was assembled. And if you think about how we assembled it, we can also disassemble it in a similar fashion. So what we're going to do is, okay, at 5 seconds, or roughly 5 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and transform or move the yellow component. And I'm going to move this yellow component straight up. That's cool. I'm going to move this to 9 seconds, and I'm going to move the yellow component back. And then I'll choose OK. Alright, so that component was now moved. I'm going to move the blue component, but the red component is going to stay in the same spot. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this forward here, and we'll do 14 seconds, and we'll move the blue component away and up, and we'll choose OK. And you can see what happened is that it kind of manipulated the storyboard here in the bottom, the timeline, and you can show, all right, puzzle cube 3 moved here, puzzle cube 2 moved there. We can hit the play button or the rewind and watch what happens. So the object, this actually will move diagonally away because we did horizontal and vertical. Same here, diagonally it moves away. Now, if you wanted to move it horizontal first, you'd have to do a horizontal movement first. Stop, accept it, then do a vertical movement first. So if we wanted to delete that blue move, that blue part move, we could. Okay, so now the blue part's back to where it was. We'll transform this in a 2-step process. So we'll pick the blue part, slide it over, choose OK. Now we'll move it over to 18 seconds, pick the blue part, go vertical. And choose OK. So now we have a couple of moves in the blue. And then we'll hit the rewind button and hit the play button. So the camera moves out and we can control the camera too. That's a whole nother aspect of this process. But you notice that it moves straight back and then up. So we can control the assemblies. Alright, so now we've got the animation done. So now that we have the animation done, we can hit the save button and it's going to be animation. Alright, so the animation is complete. We now need to create the drawings. And so with the drawing portion, what we have to do is start with a drawing, and we can pick it from the animation or the design. So we're going to do a drawing from the animation first, and then we'll create a drawing from the design second, and then move them together. So we're going to do two different types of drawings. So from the animation, since I'm here already, we're going to create it. It's going to be based on the storyboard. Now, if we wanted to do an assembled assembly, I would want to move all the parts back together again. So we'll move the parts all back together again. And I need to do a screen capture. Let's see here, how do I want to do this? I could create another storyboard, storyboard number 2, and this one's going to be clean. So now storyboard 2 is the assembled assembly. Okay, so I'm not going to move it at all. Okay, and I'll hit save, and I'll say storyboard 2. So now I've got storyboard 2, which is the assembled assembly, didn't move any parts. Storyboard 1, which is the exploded assembly, with all the parts exploded. So both are good. So storyboard 1 and 2 are on the bottom, so we're all set. We're going to go ahead and create a drawing from the animation. It's going to start with storyboard 1. It's going to be new. It's going to be a B-size sheet of paper, and we're going to choose OK. So here's a B-size sheet of paper. Here's storyboard 1. We can place our base view. That's the exploded view. So far, so good. It says that it's 1 to 2. It says the scale factor, and it's the home view. Perfect. Now, we can right mouse click in this view and edit the view. And editing that view is going to allow us to shade it. And we'll want to shade this view because it is solid. And it is an exploded assembly. We can also create tables, and that table is a parts list. And we can create this parts list here at the bottom. And we can control all these fields too. We can edit the parts list to control the fields. So part 1, part 2, part 3. I don't like where part 2 put the balloon, so I'm going to grab that balloon and move it. Now, we should be able to create a new view, a new base view of storyboard number 2, which is our solid assembly. So we're going to create a new base view. Representation is going to be storyboard number 2, and it's going to be shaded. And there we have it. And 1 to 2 is our scale. So we shaded that, that's there. We'll choose OK. And now we've got an exploded assembly, an assembled assembly, parts list, and balloons all in one space. From here, we want to create another new drawing, but that new drawing is going to be created based on a design. So we've got a couple of options. The first option is to create the drawing right under this one by hitting the plus sign and starting a new drawing. The second option is doing something similar and then bringing in views from a previous drawing that we might have created. So I'm going to stop the video for a second, create a bonus drawing of the blue part, save it, and then we'll come back and do both types of design capabilities. Just quickly, to create a drawing from an existing part, you have to open the existing part, and then you'll change to the drawing from design option. And then we'll come up with the same process, and we're going to go ahead and choose OK. And it'll show another drawing sheet. And this will be our front view. We'll then project from the front to the top to the right side to an isometric and right mouse click OK. Notice that the hidden lines are automatically placed. We'll edit the isometric view. Just right mouse click and choose edit view, select the view, and we're going to shade this view. Okay. From here, we can add our dimensions, and annotations and dimensions are shown. So we'll go ahead and just add a couple of dimensions here to show you the process of just picking the corners and adding the dimensions. Again, position the dimensions in such a environment so that it is accurate. And make sure that there are dimensions placed on all three drawing views. Alright, we'll go ahead and hit the save button. Puzzle Cube 2 drawing, hit save. We're all set. So now that I've got a drawing sheet here, I can then take this drawing sheet and then bring it into my assembly drawing. So we'll do that here next. So here's our puzzle cube. Oh, we haven't saved this yet, so we're going to need to do the save on this one, because it's probably not going to let us do this puzzle cube assembly full drawing. Okay, and we want to add a new view. Well, we can go to the puzzle cube detail. Let's see here, where did our puzzle cube detail go? That didn't turn out well. So how did that not get saved? Oh, puzzle cube 2 drawing. That's what I was looking for, not the detail. And what we wanted to do is grab this puzzle cube sheet. So sheet number 1, we're going to right mouse click and copy it. Or I think I should be able to just drag and drop this into the puzzle cube detail full. Copy. So we're trying a couple of different things. Okay, I did some digging around and discovered that currently Fusion does not allow me to copy an existing drawing sheet into another packet as far as I know. So in essence we will have to recreate the drawing packet. To create the puzzle cube multi-sheet environment, we go back to the original assembly, choose the design option, we right mouse click on top of one of the puzzle cubes and choose create drawing. From here we want to select a specific puzzle cube, and I right mouse clicked on puzzle cube number 2, which is the blue one, which is fine. But the drawing, I want it to be part of the original puzzle cube assembly full drawing, and I want it to create a new sheet under that, and we'll choose OK. So now it goes to that drawing sheet environment. I can then pick my front, project my drawing views just like we shown before. But now if you take a look, let me go ahead and delete that extra sheet. We now have the first sheet, we now have a second sheet, and for us to create the third sheet we can go back to the assembly, right mouse click on puzzle cube part number 3, create the drawing. We selected it, we want to be part of the full drawing sheet. Create a new sheet, choose OK, and we'll say that that's my front. Project the top right side, isometric. So now I've got another drawing sheet for that. So now I've got sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. And I go back to the balloons, and alright, so I need to get the last sheet positioned. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Puzzle Cube Part 1 and create a drawing. Back to the full drawing, create the new sheet. And there's my projections. Okay, so my projections are all here. But now when I look at my drawing sheets, part number 1 was the red one, 2 was the blue, 3 was the yellow. Well, that's now sheet 3. So the good thing is that I can drag that red sheet on the bottom of my screen to part number 1. So now this becomes sheet number 2 out of 4, sheet number 3, sheet number 4. So again, and then I can edit these views to create the shading and all the other necessary details overall. So that's the process of creating a drawing packet. Then go back and add your dimensions. Remember not to dimension hidden lines. Place dimensions between the part drawings. Make sure that there's room between the drawing environments. So the idea is that you want to make sure that you apply the appropriate dimensions and so forth. All right, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.